and then I'll let you guys get on with your trading day. Obviously, I'm not here to feed you trades. My goal of the channel is just to show you that simple trading processes can work. We don't have to get super complicated. We don't need a lot of indicators. I mean, indicators help. They provide us with filters on what we need to trade or how we're going to trade it, but we don't need all these crazy indicators that quote guarantee certain results, because ultimately, as we see time and time again, markets can be fairly random. The most important thing is mindset, number one. Number two is having good money management, a good trading process that allows us to win slightly more than we're losing on average, and which gives us that positive expectancy over time. And then number three, a plan that we can execute consistently day in, day out. So anyway, let's pop over and have a look at what's going on today. Let's start over here. We just had some U.S. news, so there's no other U.S. news coming up for the rest of the day that we need to really worry about. So in looking at the marketplace, let's start over here with Forex, and just get some things out of the way here. Let's start over here with Forex, and what we'll have a look at is just simply the currency strength indicator, which is what I use in order to make determinations around which currencies I'd like to pair against one another. Again, currency trading is different from other markets. Currency trading is a utilitarian market. There is speculation involved in currency trading, obviously, but not to the level that there is in other markets. Other markets are purely speculative. Currency trading has a huge volume of it that is utilitarian, meaning that transactions are occurring strictly out of the necessity to do business, not out of speculation around which direction price is going to move. So in order, and I'm about to record a lesson actually here in a few minutes that we're going to get up on the members area, talking about what makes currency trading different and how we need to have some slightly different tools in order to look at it in the right way. But anyway, without going down a rabbit hole, without going down a long tangent here, just reiterating the fact that we need something that splits out the currencies, because ultimately we have, with all the different pairings that we have, we have, sometimes a currency pair is moving, sometimes a currency pair isn't moving. So we need to split it down into individual currencies to find out which one or which two are actually moving and moving the market and giving us that opportunity to trade and have a profitable trading position potentially, right? So what we're watching here is we're just looking to see which currencies are moving to strength, which ones are moving to weakness, and we can look at it over different time frames. I have this set up on a 1 minute. It helps to show me as things are starting to move. Of course, as with anything, this is telling us what is currently happening in the market. It's not forecasting what's going to happen, because as we know, what's going to happen on the right side of the screen that's yet to come is anybody's guess. No one can tell us accurately what's going to happen in the future, because there's so many factors that are going to happen every moment from now that determine which way the market's going to move. So all we can really do is use the information that we have available to us to make those decisions, right? So we're using this, or I use this in order to determine which currencies are moving, and that lets me kind of key in on which ones I might want to have a look at. When I see currencies that are moving, some of the factors that help me in my decision-making process, one is looking at the daily range. So average daily range, how it compares of what we've moved today so far versus what we typically move in a day, and how that compares over different time periods. So this is a very helpful trading tool for me. The next thing I look at is some level of detail volume in order to understand how the volume is moving with price. Are we moving in a way that helps to entice selling or moves to entice buying? What's the volume doing? As we're selling off, is volume having an increase in selling volume and then beginning to kind of come back to the zero line, beginning to the volume starts to trail off with that selling move and starts to flip to buying volume? What's going on there? We need to understand what that is in order to help us make that trading decision. So I have a tool that helps with that as well. I'm going to get these out in the members area for you. I had hoped to do it yesterday. I didn't get it out there, but I will get some of these tools out there for you this week. I already put a button in the members area. I just have to compress all of these files and make them into a downloadable format so that they communicate well with your system when they come down. So anyway, long and short of it, right now, we're watching to see which currencies really take off and give us an opportunity to move here. The pound has been kind of oscillating up and down, up and down, up and down over about the past hour or so. Not really even an hour. Pound has started to move to strength over here, so we're starting to see some movement in the pound. Swissy is pushing weaker. It really seems to be for the last about two and a half hours, the Swissy's been moving to the weaker side, so there could be some opportunity there. Not typically a high ranging. Most of the Swiss pairs really aren't high ranging, so I'd rather wait and see something else. I'd like to pick a currency pairing that has decent volatility. It's got some decent intraday movement in order to see the opportunity that we need to see from whatever divergence we get between strong currencies and weak currencies. So I'm just going to hang out here, watch this tool, see what we get. Another trading tool that I utilize when I do see movement is a breakout tool, and it's a really simple way to go, just to say, hey, we've got some movement on these two currencies. Let's play a breakout. If obviously if the conditions are conducive to that, look to play a breakout. Popping back over here into the futures market. It's not the futures market. Into the futures market. What's going on? We talked yesterday about the fact that the market is in an upward trend on the ES. So starting over here, the top left-hand side, looking at the ES, we are in an upward trend. Obviously, it's easy to want to be contrarian because we keep saying, well, how much higher can it go? But we've been saying that for 3 years now, right? So the easiest, the safest thing to do is to trade with the trend. We talked yesterday about buying pullbacks. At the start of the U.S. session, we saw the market pull back and then pushed on up throughout the day into new all-time highs. Whether you played it off of that level or not, or just bought the pullback is totally up to you. If we drill down to a 30-minute, we can see how that acted yesterday. This was the opening of the new U.S. session where it fully went live. Broke below it, but then closed above, and then came back and retested it, and then moved on. It's just a perfect example of support and resistance, right? Looking at key areas on a longer time frame, and then seeing how price interacts with those areas on a shorter time frame. It's funny. I talked yesterday about buying pullbacks. I got into that little bit of a contrarian mindset yesterday. So again, trading is easy as long as we stay out of our heads. That's why the very first thing we've got to do is get out of our own heads and not let some bias dictate what we're doing. We need to be aware of biases. Yesterday, I had a couple trades in a row where I got into that mindset of, oh, it can't go any higher, and then I would flip and try to be contrarian, and then it just kept moving right without me. In the opposite of that, kept moving with the trend, right? So it's important, like I've said before, it's okay to be contrarian, just be prepared to be wrong. And it's both directions. We have to be prepared to be wrong. Either direction we choose to trade, we have to be prepared to be wrong. But if you're contrarian, you're taking even more because you're really going against that trend. So probably the least, I don't want to mince words here, but probably the least stressful way to trade would be to trade with that trend. Popping back over here again, looking at gold. We talked about gold yesterday off of 15. We talked about really a range between that 1550-ish area, 1555 and then 1545. We've broken below that now over the course of overnight trading. We broke below 1550, which is a kind of a key area for us here, and we're seeing how price is going to interact. The trend is still up. It has not changed yet. Now, if we drill down to a 30-minute, obviously the trend has changed. But on a 4-hour, buying those pullbacks is still the way to go. So looking for this to pull back down here to this 1525 area, 1530, maybe on the top side of that, would be where we'd want to look to potentially come back into this. At least in my opinion. That's, again, not telling you what to trade. I'm just giving you some ideas using some very simple trading methodologies. If you're looking at this on a 30-minute and you want to be more with the 30-minute trend, obviously selling off of a push up to 1550 would be the way to go. But in my opinion, looking at the 4-hour time period and then trading with that trend is probably the better thing to do. So, looking to buy pullbacks would be what we'd want to look at. And then over here on crude, yesterday, same thing. We talking about this 59 area over here, seeing what it was doing. Actually, we actually had kind of a channel that we were looking at before that, but just watching that, how price acted around that 59 area, we saw it break below and then push lower. Now 58, another whole number, psychological whole number, has become an interesting area for it, where it seems to have bounced off of that. Trend is still down though. Looking at a 4-hour here, the trend is still down. So trading with the trend would be, if it pulls back to 5,900, would be selling off of that potentially. So those are the trading ideas. Obviously, we'll pop back into the market and see how things go, and see what we can pick up on crypto. Over here on crypto, just looking at what's going on in this area. We talked a little bit yesterday about this 143 on Ethereum. We talked about the 8,000 on Bitcoin. Never got there during the time that we were in the market yesterday. The Ethereum certainly did. It certainly played around this 143 area, and now has pushed on through that next level of resistance up there, which was the 150. So we'll see if that continues to push north or if we get a pullback. Right now the trend is up on a 4-hour, so if it pulls back to that 150, great spot to look to buy on that pullback. So that's really it for now. Let's see if I have anything else to report to you. Yeah, I can show you this one just to start putting up here, since it is something that I'm involved in. This is the Crystal. It's called Crystal Token. It's going to be called something else down the road. A friend of mine is allowing me to beta test this before he actually launches it. But I would guess he's going to bring this to market in the next month to 2 months. What it is an automated program where you put funds in your Binance account, and then his bots / manual traders, he has both manual traders and bots, will take trades on your behalf and trade in your Binance account for you. So you're not giving someone money and then hoping to get it back. You're not buying tokens and then having to exchange those tokens for a certain value in order to get your money out. It's actually trading in your Binance account. And I could right now go take my profit out of Binance without having to go through any other issues. It does require the purchase of his token in order to, I don't even know if it requires that actually. I don't know if he's really come to a decision on how that's going to work, but having his token is what powers this. Think of it as like going to Dave & Buster's and you have to buy their tokens in order to play the games, right? So in order to get his bots to work, you've got to have Crystal tokens. But the bots trade and the manual traders trade on your behalf in your account. So it's kind of like a shadow trading process. We can see here it's up still. Let me pull up. I showed you yesterday, January 2nd. Let me pull this up again. So January 2nd, started taking screenshots here. So started the new year, 2112, and current balance is 2304. I don't know, doing the math, what are we, about a 10% increase so far this month. So looking pretty good. Digging the performance of Crystal Token. That's pretty much spot on with what he'd been seeing in his testing from the summertime up to the end of the year when I started the beta. So that's pretty interesting. I'll keep talking about performance there as well. I have another one that is being managed as well in the crypto market. I use a platform called Megalodon, and that's another trading platform. Sometimes on TradingView, you might see my charts or my screens, and you'll see the Megalodon indicators on there. Super cool indicator suite. A little bit overwhelming, honestly. It's a ton of information, and for you guys, you know me, I like to keep things really simple. So when all this information starts coming in, and I'm looking at all these different oscillators and lines and whatnot, my brain just shuts down because it's information overload. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. I'm a simple guy. I like simple stuff. The simple stuff works as long as you have the mindset to work with it. And we're going to get into that mindset piece. It's okay. By the way, not to go on too much of a tangent on a sidebar here, but you're going to have days like I did yesterday. I couldn't get out of my own way yesterday. Yesterday was a perfect opportunity to make money on the ES. It was an amazing market, but mindset didn't allow me to take the fruit from there because for some reason I got into my head that I needed to be in a contrarian mode. How much higher can it go crept in, and I started buying into that over trade with the trend. You're going to have days where you make silly mistakes, things that you know better to do. It's like anything, right? We know we need to eat right and exercise in order to stay fit. But some days we just want that food that we know is bad for us and the drinks that we know are bad for us, and we partake in sometimes too much of that stuff. It's okay if those things happen. As long as you manage your losses to a reasonable level and know when to wake up and get out, right? Take it for what it is and move on to the next day. So that's what I'm doing today. So anyway, that's the good, the bad, the ugly, the market. So if you have any questions, throw them in. We've got kind of new people popping in here day over day. So feel free to interact. I answer the emails and I answer stuff that you throw into Facebook for me. So I'm happy to answer questions. And I will get those indicators up. I've got a somewhere over here. I'm about to do a lesson that I'm going to put on the members area as well, getting into the Forex basics, what makes the market different, what we need to have and watch in order to be successful as traders there. So we're going to get into that series, recording at least one video a day so that'll be out there for you. And then once we get that out there, we're going to get into the mastery stuff that really addresses mindset in a hardcore level and gets into system development and finding those things. Because I talk about it all the time here. You need to have a system that fits you, but how do you figure out what that is? So the mastery program will help you identify what that is, what markets you want to trade, but also how to develop that system that's going to give you that positive expectancy, but also will fit your trading personality. So we'll get to all that. But first things first, got to get the indicator packages out there for you, and then got to get these videos done as well. All right, so that's it for now. Have a great day. Trade, I don't want to say safe, because that's not really the right thing. Trade your plan. Plan your trade, trade your plan. Be aware of your mindset. Be aware of any biases that you're developing. The market's going to do what the market's going to do. All right. Have a great day. We'll talk to you soon.